Hello everyone and welcome home, quite literally, to my room tour video. So the context behind this video is that when I was matriculating into NTU as a nervous freshie, I thought, okay, since I'm going to be staying in dorm, I want to know everything that there is, like food options, how the toilet looks like, how many wall sockets there are, what room dimensions the room is so that I can bring my own furniture, how much closet space is there, etc. Basically, I just wanted to know everything, and honestly, not a lot of room tour videos that I watch provided that, especially since my hall, which is Binjai Hall, is fairly new. So I am making it. This is for everyone who is like past me. Oh yes, I am moving out soon because they are apparently carrying out rectification works in my block, so they are relocating me to an adjacent block. I do not know what unit I'm going to be in, so that's kind of a bummer, but we'll have to make the most out of it. So basically, the situation in my room right now is that I've semi-packed everything, so whatever you see right now is already sort of 70% packed, and my room does not usually look like this. It is usually a lot worse, so project from there. Anyways, yeah, just ignore everything that's me related, just focus on what the room normally provides. Okay, so starting from the doorway, there will be two hooks hanging behind the door for you to hang your clothes on and stuff. And when you look into the room through the doorway, ordinarily you would see the provided table, the closet, and the bed. Basically everything that there is there, because this room is tiny. However, because of all the stuff that I have currently blocking the doorway, I have opted instead to not show you that view because I can't open the door properly. So instead of what my room currently is like, I have instead opted to show you this video of what it was like when I was moving in. So as you can see, the bed is fitted with this sort of leathery covering thing that's supposed to protect the mattress. Don't remove it. And then there's the closet, which is a double door closet with a little rack underneath for your shoes. There is, I believe, enough closet space, but if you like efficient organization or you have many clothes like me, please consider bringing in this rack, which I will now insert a photo of. Basically, it helps you separate the space in your closet so you maximize all the space that there is, basically. Right, so there's this giant vertical thumbtack board that is behind and above the provided table. It comes with a little pull-out drawer. Let's ignore that. And currently there are 5 light switches. The one at the extreme end over there is the cable for the internet. There is no provided Wi-Fi, so you will have to get your own router or laptop cable. So how it works is you switch on this light here and the table will light up with this little lamp. That's usually how people study, but I have instead opted to bring in my own table, so I don't know, that's just what I prefer. Anyways, I will probably try to find the dimensions for both this table and my table, so you can look for that later on in my video. Oh yes, special note about the curtains, I do not think they are meant to be removed, which is tragic. However, despite their khaki color, in case you don't like that, they are what I think they are blackout curtains, or at least light barely comes through them if you draw them completely. So in case you want to have a little daytime nap but in the dark, simply draw your curtains and it will do the trick. The windows for mine do not have the grid. Hi, I'm editing right now and I just wanted to say grills. I meant window grills. But yeah, so this is the drying rack outside. You can kind of see empty darkness below. Well, what happens is that there is a sliding net for the mosquito net, which is over here. However, story time will come later. Just remember, always close your windows or you will regret it. So instead of using the window, what we have over here is a little vent next to the door. It can be closed like now, but if you open it, it will look something like this. So basically these are vents, right? There's a mosquito net inside that, And then there are vents on the outside as well, so that's probably enough protection to make sure that no lizards come in. Or at least I've never had a lizard coming through the vents before. So as I mentioned earlier, the closet does open up like this on both sides. There is a shelf on the top for you to put whatever you want to put. There's the hanger rack, and typically on the right hand side it's completely empty, but there's the shelf that I got. And then there is a shoe rack at the bottom. The drawer over here is lockable, so you can temporarily use it as a safe. And on the left hand side of the door, you can see a mirror. It won't be full length, it's just a regular closet mirror. So yeah, I think it's fairly enough space. There's a little drawer you can put there. I usually put belts and hats in there. But yeah, I think it should be fairly sufficient. In case you didn't have enough space in the closet, there are also these drawers under the bed. The one all the way at the end over there is fully extended, so that gives you approximately that much space, I guess, to put other things if you want. If not clothes, you can always put things like snacks, your cost tags, books, I don't know, gold bars, whatever you want to put. Yeah. And over here, the door locking mechanism is quite simple. Currently it's unlocked. If I turn it once anti-clockwise, it will lock. However, there is the option where you can double lock it as well. I don't know what that does, but you are free to find out. Anyways, if you want to unlock it, simply turn it clockwise and that will do the trick. Okay, so this is how the toilet works. You just sort of tap your key fob on the thing, the light will turn green, you go inside. There is a little sensor here that tells you when people enter the toilet, so that it's more secure and you know when people enter the toilet when you're showering. There are 4 taps. Okay, so the 4 cubicles on the right here are toilets, and the 4 cubicles on the left here are showers. The one on the right, the toilet is just pretty standard. I mean, yeah. And for the shower, it kind of looks like this. The shower head is adjustable, but you can't really hold it, if you know what I mean. The hot water in this block works perfectly fine, at least for my floor, probably because it's new, and there are 2 hooks for you to hang your clothes on. In case you misplaced or you're too lazy to go get your key fob to use the toilet, you can use the wheelchair toilet as well. It's just your standard wheelchair toilet, except that the tap is not timed for once, which is nice. So my floor has an ironing room, which is also where the garbage disposal is. Hang on, the lights are usually motion sensor, but if they're not, you can just hit this switch that's besides the door. Anyway, so standard stuff. The ironing board is foldable if you extend it. Here's the garbage. Right, so here's the pantry. There's 3 chairs. Usually if you have a pantry on your floor, the laundry is not on your floor, it will be on the floor, either one up or one down. So we'll look at that later. The facilities that we do have are a sink, your standard water cooler, hot water, cold water dispenser. I guess the number here says that the hot water is currently at 100 degrees Celsius. We have an air fryer, which is special, I suppose, and a microwave. So yeah, if you want to cook, there is no stove and no fridge. If you want a fridge, usually for NTU students as a whole, you have to get your own fridge inside your room, which they will charge you for in the electricity bill. But if you want to eat instant food, there's a microwave and hot water. But yeah, here are the rules for the air fryer and the pantry in general, if you want to pause the screen and take note. Yeah. Right, so this is what the lift lobby looks like. There is a lift for every block that's in this general hall cluster, I think. So now we're gonna go 1 floor down to check out the laundry area. Yeah. So for floors that don't have a pantry, they'll have the laundry room. It will have a sink, the hot water dispenser, the refuse, the foldable ironing board, and it will also have the laundry. So how it works is that there are 3 washing machines, but this last one here is a dryer. How to use the washing machine is basically that you put a $1 coin inside here, you pull this out, put your detergent in on the left. If you want to use fabric softener, you put it on the right. You close it, you hit the settings on top, then you hit the setting that's on the bottom, depending on what you want, and then you shut the door, then it should be fine. The dryer works the same way, you just have to put $1 inside, pick the setting and close the door. Yeah, I don't know why I said to pick the settings and then close the door, but you should probably close the door before you pick the settings. But the problem with having only one dryer in this floor, I guess, or these two floors, is that if you see someone using the washing machine and their cycle has only just begun, it's highly likely that they will get to use the dryer before you because they will be done with their laundry faster than yours. So in that case, just go to a different floor and use their dryer. And also, as a side note, I would recommend not using the washing machine that's directly next to the dryer, because I guess it's easier to transfer your clothes over, so people normally just use this one. So I think the spin is slightly weaker. I'm not sure if it's like that for all of them, or just my floor, but I usually try to use the one that's as far away as possible because I guess people don't really use that one. Also, the dryer is usually quite weak unless you put fairly few amounts of clothing, so just be warned that it will come out damp. Not wet, just damp. Yeah. I filmed this after I moved, so this is not the Binjai lounge, but I think they are all roughly the same. The lounge will have aircon, it will have a bunch of sofa chairs with a coffee table, and those huge glass windows. Every block should have around 3 lounges. There will be at least one on the boy floor and at least one on the girl floor. So yeah, and the Binjai Hall 5th floor lounge has a foosball table, which is really fun. Right, so as mentioned earlier, I was going to provide room measurements and dimensions. I'm pretty sure the dimensions of the actual room itself can be found online, so I won't be including that. But you can let me know in the comments if you don't manage to find it. But here are some of the dimensions of the things inside the room. I measured these myself with a tape measure, but I'm not very precise, I feel. So you can just take these as a rough gauge. Don't custom make your furniture exactly to this number or anything. And here's the measurement of the table that I brought in case you want it. Right, so now I'll be giving a kind of general overview of what it's like to live here. So for example, regarding campus buses, as we all know, the NTU provided free shuttle buses. While free, are horrible. I think everyone can just acknowledge that they barely come on time. Even when they're supposed to come on time, according to the app, it will just stay at 3 minutes for 5 minutes, which is mathematically impossible. Sometimes the buses arrive but they're not even on the app, so they're kind of like going rogue, they're just not tracked. Or sometimes you'll be looking at the buses on the map and then they'll just disappear because they went to the bus depot. So, and what happens is that, I guess if it's a campus shuttle bus, first of all, you just never really know when it's coming or not. It's kind of like a mystery lover, except your lover hates you and never wants to see your face. The second thing is that it takes forever to come sometimes, because sometimes 2 buses kind of just go with each other, so there's like an awkwardly long gap between that group of buses and the next one. So one time I ended up waiting for, I think, half an hour or more. So if you're trying to go for class, then good luck with that. Most of the time people just opt to walk if their hall is near enough, which is kind of the point of having hall, which is that you're nearer to where you're supposed to be studying at. But if your hall is really far away from where your lecture is, like for example, I stay in the North Hill section, and as a humanities student, my campus is basically in South Spine. So from the sound of it, North Hill and South Spine, you can kind of tell that I would not like to do some kind of strange marathon every single morning. So yeah, just try to figure out when the buses arrive in the morning if your classes start in the morning. So for example, I know that there's definitely like the first bus around 8 or 8 something, and then there will be one around 10:30, but from 11 onwards, which is pretty much just peak hour, there will be 0 buses. I know, it's like, it's lunch hour, everyone wants to go somewhere, and yet there are just no buses. It's kind of the same at 6 PM, like there will just be no buses around there, which is actually really strange. The other thing I take note of is that NTU has 2 buses that go to the outside world, which is Boon Lay bus interchange. which is 199 and 179. So for example, the bus stop outside North Hill, 199 goes there, but for the South Spine area, only 179 goes there. So basically, I cannot take the public bus to my faculty place, which means that if I'm stuck at a bus stop, I need to go for class, I can't even take a public bus, I have to wait for the shuttle bus. Or I could walk, but that would take me hours. I walk really slowly. So yeah, sometimes there's that kind of mismatch between what your bus stop has and what your campus has, so that kind of sucks. But if you mean the campus shuttle buses itself, yeah, that's totally fine. They go to most places. Okay, so the next thing is, and I don't know how to put it in a normal way, but NTU has monkeys. They just walk around, sometimes steal your stuff if it's in a plastic bag. I left my windows open. I did put the mosquito grill up though, as in I slid it. And yeah, monkeys can open that because it's a sliding mechanism. So they basically just, as you can see in this provided image, they slid my mosquito net open and then proceeded to ransack my room. So yeah, no, you will not get compensated. They will just tell you to close your windows. Yes, you can call campus security. They will chase the monkeys out, but they don't really bother catching the monkeys anymore. It's just kind of like a, okay, shoo, that's it kind of situation. There are seminars provided on how to deal with them or what to do if you see one of them. But yeah, I also heard stories where they ran up to someone who was holding, like, you know, chicha bubble tea, and they just grabbed it from the person. So yeah, I guess you can get robbed by monkeys in NTU. There's just that kind of world out here. Okay, so for room noise levels in North Hill, the walls are dangerously thin. If you get an old hall, which I guess something around 4 or 5 is very safe. Anything where the hall has a name in it, like Crescent or Pioneer or Binjai, that means it's new. And that means the walls are really thin. So when I say that the walls are really thin, me and my neighbor held this little experiment to see how much we could hear from each other's rooms. And if I stood at this side of the wall switch is directly on the other side, she switched on and off her light and I could hear it. So that's just the kind of amount of noise that can be heard. But what I found is that sounds can be heard very clearly from the corridor, but once you enter your own room, not so much. So if that helps or doesn't help, yeah. Pretty much what I'm saying is that let's say you listen to music while you're studying, I cannot hear it if I'm your neighbor. However, if I'm in the corridor walking past, I can hear it. It's just that kind of world. Okay, I'm pretty sure hall application is already over, but I'll just mention a few things. Firstly of all, when you're in year 1, you can't pick what hall you want to stay in. It will be randomly allocated to you. You can try to kind of trick the system. If you want a room that has specific requirements that only found in certain halls. For example, if you want a room that's like your room, shared toilet, another room, I'm pretty sure there are only a few halls that offer that, so you'll definitely get one of those. But if you want the generic single aircon room, then you're pretty much gonna get tossed around any hall. Yeah. The next thing is that you can start to choose what hall you want to be in when you hit year 2, I think. I'm not sure if it's year 1 semester 2 or year 2, but basically the first time you apply for anything, you can't pick. So another thing is that if you get hall points, for example, let's say your CCA gives you 4 hall points and you do hall activities too, which gives you 3 points, you don't get 7, you only get 4. You basically get the higher number, as if it's some kind of test that you're retaking, when it should honestly add up, but it doesn't. So I guess my sort of advice would be that if you really want the hall points, you just have to work your way up some kind of ladder. You can't just join like 9 organizing committees and try to rake in the points that way. You have to just get really high up the rung somehow. But yeah, if you're year 1 and 2 and you don't really need to stay for year 3 onwards, you don't have to bother with all that stuff, because for year 1 and 2 it's guaranteed housing. So you really don't have to bother with hall points. You can just not do anything if you want to. Oh, and just as some kind of side note, the paint in the North Hill rooms I find that they are quite sketchy. Okay, sketchy in the way that it flakes easily, okay? And when I say flakes easily, what I mean is don't put washi tape on it, because even washi tape will rip the paint off. So just don't tape anything on the walls. Okay, what I plan to do is that I'm going to take giant sheets of paper, and then I'm going to tape that paper to the wall, and then tape all my miscellaneous things onto that sheet of paper. So that at the end of the day, if I'm going to accidentally rip the paint off, it's just going to be like tiny bits at the four corners instead of, I don't know, tiny bits everywhere across the wall. If you want to paste stuff on the closet or on the weird shutter thing next to the door, you can definitely do that, because it's not the same kind of paint that the walls are coated with, and I think that one's actually pretty okay for sticking stuff on. So yeah, just don't stick like stickers, or like the kind that can't usually be removed anyway. Just stick regular stuff that can be removed, like hooks with like the pull tabs for removing, and washi tape. Just general safe stuff is okay on those, but for the walls you have to watch it a bit. So here are the photographs of what the North Hill Canteen has to offer. North Hill also has a Mala restaurant and an Indian cuisine restaurant if you're interested. North Hill is also near 3 other canteens. So from nearest to furthest, it would be Canteen 11, the Saraka Canteen, and then followed by Canteen 2, which is near the ADM building. Also, if it's of any relevance, there's a Japanese stall at Canteen 11 and a Korean stall at the Saraka Canteen. It's not pictured, but the drink stall also has fruit, ice cream, and breakfast food. Just a side note to say that I'm also making a publicity video for my haul. So if you want to check out the haul amenities, you can also check that video out. Yes, so that's pretty much the end of this video. I really try my best to be inclusive and include everything that could possibly be helpful, like room dimensions and canteen options with prices, that kind of stuff. But if I missed out anything, or if you want me to include anything, or you can just comment or message me on Instagram. I'll try my best to help, especially since I still live here. So yeah, all the best, and if you end up in North Hill, you can text me and let me know.